All right, what's up? Let's talk good hands, best hands when you're playing 1-2, no limit, hold'em poker, or 2-5, whatever. No matter what it is, let's just talk hold'em poker. 2 cards, 1 board. Everybody that plays poker, I think if you've been playing long enough, then you know your best hands to play are pocket aces, kings, queens. After that, everything else is pretty much a chance taker, right? How you play it is how you get the best out of it, though. Since I don't really like talking about others, I talk about myself in general on how I play. You can leave a comment on how you do your thing, how you feel about it. And like I said, man, I don't get offended by anything. I just tell little things about how I feel about it, and then you can weigh in on it if you feel, and leave a comment, make it a debate or whatever, and that's cool with me. But here we go. So in poker, no limit hold'em, to me, my best top choice picks should be what everybody else feels too. Everybody has their favorite hand, but aces, kings, queens, right? I live and die with them. Well, I take that back. And the reason why I take that back is because I got only one time that I folded aces pre-flop. Yes, I folded aces pre-flop. This is 2026, so this had to be probably back in 2010, maybe 11. It was a house game, and we sat down. First hand off the bat, I'm in the blind. I got the blind. And soon as we started, the person that was under the gun automatically all in. Now, I'm happy in the beginning until I saw the other 9 players or 8 players behind them all do the same thing. So when that happened, I just decided that I'm folding my aces. Glad I did, because I would have lost, right? Somebody did hit, and it wasn't my aces. Somebody had an ace king, somebody had ace queen. You know, all these scenarios, all these variables you got to put in your head. My aces is just a high pair. That's all it is. It's the best pair, but it does not mean that it's going to get through that board of 5 cards that are going to come out and display and tell a story. So I can't remember who actually won that hand and what won, but I know my aces, if I would have stayed in, they would have got cracked. It only made sense. So yes, that is the only time that I've actually only folded pocket aces. I folded them before in other scenarios as well, right? But never like that when somebody says all in. I did it because I just knew the numbers were going to be made it more of a challenge for my aces to survive. So yes, I folded pocket aces before. But still going back to these cards, these are at a real poker game, right? When you're playing actual poker, when poker players, let's say out of a 9-table sitting, you have 7 true poker players that are playing poker, and the other 2, they may like to play bet it all in blind. You have those type of players at the table. They do what they do, and we welcome them. We welcome them with open arms. Can't make this up, but you do have players that do that. But anyway, aces, kings, queens. When I got pocket aces, depending on my position, I will bet and try to get a turnover on my investment, right? My pocket aces are a good investment to make some money on. So basically, depending on where I'm at the table, I bet a certain way, right? Now, if I'm the last to act, and let's say everybody just limped in, we had a 1-2 game, and everybody limped in with $2, right? Because 1-2 makes everybody feel froggy, right? And they will call it just to see what's going to happen. So if I got pocket aces, and by the time it gets around to me, let's say I'm in the blind, like that, like I just described to you, everybody called 2. Now, when that does happen, that is with 8 players, that is $17, I think, on the board, maybe. I'm going to take and 3-bet it with my aces, right? If we're at a 1-2 table setting, I'm going to probably bet at 50 because I know out of that group, I may get maybe one, I may get 2 players that's going to call, right? I may not get any. If I don't get any, great, because I'm going to take all the blind. I'm going to take everybody's call on the blinds, right? Up to me, that's $18 I just made on my pocket aces. Better safe than sorry. We want to make a lot of money on aces, but a lot of times aces get cracked. They do get cracked. Live with them, die with them. They do get cracked. And somebody can call you with pocket deuces, threes, any pocket pair that can turn into a set will beat your aces for a lot of times, right? Not a lot of times it happens, right? But it can happen. And you won't even see it. You will not see it. If your ace does not hit that board, or you do not hit a straight, 9 times out of 10, your aces probably just got beat, especially if somebody's still betting. Because you bet at 50. You bet at 50. A good poker player will 9 times out of 10 put you on what they don't have. So if they don't have aces, they may have kings. They may have queens. They may have fours. They may have fives. Depending on how they feel about certain hands, they will call your 50. A lot of times they may think about it. If they're thinking about it, and they think about it for a good while, they may have a low pocket pair and they're trying to decide, do I want to call this and take a chance? Had it happen to me the other day, I had pocket aces, I bet. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you, it was pocket queens that I actually had. I had pocket queens. I didn't bet high. I betted $7, I think, on the come out because of my position. So I betted $7, and I think I had 4 callers, including my wife. Now, when she called me, that's when I knew I was up against something. I said, okay, she's got a hand. What does she have, though? So I made it $7. She came in. The board hit 3 something something. That three is magic because I didn't see it. She rarely does that. She rarely bets on hands like that, right? But because she was having not that good of a card catch, and a lot of times she was betting and people betted her off her hands, right? Because she's like me. We both play the game serious, and sometimes we be in a bad position, and it happens. You call, somebody raises. They don't do it at first, and then they wind up raising, so now you're losing your money. So basically what happened was I had pocket queens. I made it 7. I think I had 2 callers, maybe 3, including her, so that makes it 3, I believe. And when the flop came out, I bet it. She went over the top. So I said, oh, what did I just walk into, right? And in my head, I'm saying, touche. You got me, I guess. But I couldn't fold because there was nothing on the board that was higher than my queens. So I said, I can't fold. So I just went on ahead and I matched her all in. And I think I had to put 70 more out there. So I put out the 70 to catch up with her. And she turned over pocket threes, gave her a set. She had the 3 on the flop. So that is what I mean by aces, kings, and queens on how, these are your good starting value hands. But a lot of times, those hands can get wiped off the map and you won't even see it. Now, if that was somebody else, honestly, if that was somebody else, I probably fold, right? Because I'm thinking I'm already beat. Only reason I didn't fold to her because, we having fun with it. And I just said, well, let me see what you really got. I want to get a read on her too because she's slick. So I want to get a read on her. And she turned over them 3s. So I was highly impressed. And I was like, bravo, touche. You got me on that one. I didn't see it. But that is what can happen with your aces, kings, and queens. 3 of the top best to have in your hand. The queens and jacks, for the most part, can depend on where you at on the table. When you're playing them, how you're going to bet. Yesterday, I had pocket jacks, and I forgot where I was at. And when it came to me, there wasn't any money out there. But I know by the time it got around to me, I had pocket jacks. So I just said, 21, and I bet at 21. Somebody called the 21 after the flop. I said, okay, I'm gonna bet one more time because I don't know where this person really is at. But if they only call me, then I think I'm good. So I put the 20. I put out another 21, I believe it was, and they called that 21. River card came, and still there was nothing there. So after that, I didn't know what was happening, if the person was calling me because they were just trying to, they set me up, right? So I checked because I was first to act. They checked, right? Now, if that person was first to act and he just checked, he or she checked, I probably would have bet it again. But because it was me that was first to act, I just went on ahead and I checked it this time. They checked it. If they would have bet it, then they would have put me against the wall, and then I would have had to think about it. And then I said, okay, they didn't do that. So they checked. So basically, they were trying to catch something, and they missed. My jacks held up. But that is how I play around with jacks sometimes. It's all kind of variables. How you feel about playing it is up to you. But I know with jacks, especially, I'll go all in with them, right? If I feel that, if I just feel it, right, then I go all in with them. But a lot of times I'll play with jacks and I'll treat them like deuces. I will not try and make anything from it. I just feel blessed that if they hold up, that's basically it. And I think a lot of poker players feel that way when it comes to hands like that. Sometimes people feel more comfortable with 7s and 8s, and they'll go all in with those hands because there's so many things that can come out of it in the middle, right? They're middle cards. So basically 7 and 8s can turn into straights, turn into sets, turn into boats for you. So a lot of people will bet high with pocket 7s and pocket 8s. More than they will with jacks, more than they will with 10s. Because the way I feel about it is you always got to remember everybody at the table, when it comes to the high cards, if they get dealt those, they're probably getting a queen 3, king deuce, ace 7, something like that. And those high cards just took away your outs. So you don't have a lot of chances to make straights with those type of cards that you're looking for because your outs have already gone. They're vanished. But a lot of times, people will take 7s and 8s, and they'll live and die with them, right? I got somebody who actually has Ocho on the back of his hat because he get pocket 8s, and you can have aces. You can say all in. If he got those 8s, he's going for it. He's going for it because it has so much of a range. To me, anyway, in my opinion, if you've been playing poker a while, you'll see it, and you'll see how 8s and 7s work for you, and you'll see a lot of times they turn into straights, a lot of times they turn into sets, they turn into quads, they turn into boats, right? They turn into a lot of things with those type of hands. But when you get aces and kings, even though they're good, the best starting hands to have, you got to remember they're at the top of the list. And a lot of times they're just high pairs. In order for them to turn into straights, you got to go from low, and hopefully it goes up to that level, right? But yeah, aces and kings, you're going to play them the way they're supposed to be played, right? So those are the best, to me, starting hands to have. But there's a lot of hands that can knock them off the mountaintop, and people do crack aces. They crack king. They take down the kings. They do it. So it does happen. But those are your best, to me, scenarios when you're saying you want good starting hands. You want the aces, you want the kings, and you want the queens, right? To me, when it becomes queens, that is when you say, okay, where am I at on the table? Because queens can get beat down quick, right? We call them bitches. No pun intended, so don't take me for what I'm saying, but that's what we call them, though. And they get stitches. That's what we call them. Bitches get stitches. So that is what happens with queens. But with them, you can make money off of them. A lot of times they will hit a set. A lot of times queens will turn into a set quick, right? And you can win a lot of money off of them. But you do have to be wise in your decision. If somebody makes a certain move that is not normal, right? You got to put them on something. And when you got queens in your hand, depending on what that bet value is, you either call or you fold. Kenny Rogers said it in his song. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And sometimes you do have to lay them down. I've laid down queens before. I've made a bet and somebody three betted me. And depending on how your game is, if you like reaching back in your pocket, then you're going to call. If you don't like reaching back in your pocket and you say, you know what, I'm going to let this one go. I got plenty of time. I just got here. This was like my second hand. I'm not ready to rebuy yet. So you got that one. That's wise, right? Nothing wrong with that. Do it. Nothing wrong with folding hands. That's another subject though. But anyway, with that said, like and subscribe. This is just about, to me, your best starting hands. And I look at it as aces, kings, queens as well. But at the same time, depending on where you're at on the table, when you get queens, you got to try to, strategize how you want to bet them in order for it to work. With that said, I'm out. Y'all be cool. Like and subscribe. Peace.